Hey guys, welcome to Brian's Man Cave. So today I want to talk about the great cartridge debate. Now, this is a topic that I probably talked about before, similar type videos, talking about the physical versus the virtual. And we all know, well, we've always known for a long time that eventually video games will not have cartridges, discs, even like the Switch having, this little tiny card. A lot of the times, these Switch games are now not even, they're just selling empty cases because there's like a download code in there. And that's fine, sometimes that's all you need. You download it onto your system, you're good to go. But some people really like the nostalgia of the cartridge. And of course it's expensive. I mean, like, certain games you maybe can't even get without having the cartridge running. Like, I don't know if they sell this as a ROM yet, but this is like Mr. Run and Jump. I got this from the Atari website, and as far as I know, I only have the cartridge, so I have to play this on my original Atari 2600. There's just no way around it. Same with this one, the Mappy game that I got from the Atari Age website when they were doing their sale for like their last final chance sale. I only have the cartridge, so if I want to play this game, I have to use the cartridge slot. So the reason why I'm talking about this is obviously the Intellivision Sprint made headlines. I did a video talking a little bit about it. I've seen a bunch of other content creators talking about it, and it's getting a lot of chatter on like some of the Facebook groups I'm on, like the Intellivision Facebook group, the Atari Age Facebook group. People are talking about it, and in the fact that it doesn't have a cartridge slot, and is it necessary? And some people are like, it's a hard no. It doesn't have a cartridge slot. They don't want it, because like if you look at some of the products that came out, like the Atari Plus, prior to that, we had flashback systems, lots of flashback systems, things like these from At Games, and the actual Atari flashback. There was an Intellivision flashback. None of them had cartridge slots. I mean, the Atari Flashback 2, from what I've read, is that you can actually put a cartridge slot in it because it was using like a board, using the hardware that's similar to what the actual Atari was using. It wasn't using like the full-on emulation, whatever. So some people were retrofitting a card slot in there. But other than that, most of these plug-and-play systems, I guess you call them, don't have a cartridge slot. They haven't forever. Even the Nintendo, when Nintendo jumped on board and made the NES Classic, no cartridge slot. So when the Atari 2600 Plus came out, and I guess, I think there's a 7800 Plus as well, or it plays 7800 games. That changed things a lot for people, and they're like, their expectations now are, hey, let's get back to the cartridge slot, which, is great in its own rewards, but having the ability to just load a ROM on anyways is all that most people will need in today's times. Like, if you think about a person who's not like, someone like me who has all the games, who's like a hardware fanatic kind of thing, they're not going to run around and try and find physical product anyways. And it might be fine for them. Like the Intellivision Sprint, for instance. It might be okay for someone who, like the fact that it doesn't have a cartridge, excuse me, doesn't have a cartridge slot. It might be okay because they might not care. They might not need a cartridge slot. And for people like me, I have an original Intellivision. I have my Intellivision 2. I have, a couple of Intellivisions. I could plug them in and I could play my cartridges, right? But it is cool that a new system that is being produced today has the ability to play, the classic games and some of the new games. And, for someone like me, like I've been playing all my Intellivision games pretty much on this, the LTO flash card. They're a little hard to come by. I know they're not readily available. And they're a little pricey, but when I started developing games, I realized I needed one of these, and luckily I grabbed one. Like William, Mueller told me, he's like, they're not going to be available. If you don't jump on this now, it's going to be gone. And I'm like, oh crap. So I got one, grabbed it at that last chance when he had a few left in stock. But, I find that I just been using this now. The only time I need to actually use the cartridge slot is for like newer games like this one here that I got. It's Electronite's Miner 2049er. I don't know if you can buy the ROM for this. I know a lot of Electronite's games you can't buy the ROMs. He doesn't sell them. He did sell a few of them, and some of the distribution happened, but in most cases you can't. So you need the cartridge slot to play this game. Some of my homebrews as well, like Keystone Cops, for instance. I do sell the ROM, but a lot of people did buy the physical copy so they can actually play it. But in most cases, this is all I've been using, and it goes into my Intellivision. So would I really have a problem with like, say, the Intellivision Sprint not having a cartridge slot? If it has a USB thing that I could still put my games on and still play it, I think that's awesome. But, at the same time, it would be great to have a cartridge slot. Whether they would make an external device that you can actually plug in, or make a second generation Intellivision Sprint or Intellivision Plus is what everybody's been talking about they want. Either way, I think it would work. But as far as, like, for me, I'm okay with both. I'm good with the fact that if it doesn't have a cartridge slot, as long as it has the way to add the games. If you can't add the ROMs, then I'm not sold. If it's 47 games or whatever's on there, games that I already have cartridges of, I have on my flash cart, it's not a product for me. I would never even bother with it. Even though I like the idea that it's HDMI plug-in, you play it on your big screen TV. It's got the wireless controllers, which I really like. I'd really like to try them to see how they are. But if it had no ability to play the ROMs, because like Mike from Mike's Gaming Gala, he always says the only reason why you should get into Intellivision is because of the modern ROMs today, the modern, homebrews. The homebrew market is huge. There's a lot of people like me, people like Electronite, and so on and so forth, who put out a lot of great products for the Intellivision. You need to have that system compatible that can play these modern games. If it can't, you're only really going to appeal to the people who maybe grew up with the Intellivision and just want to play it again. And the other thing people have pointed out, obviously, is licensing issues. Certain games like Cloudy Mountain is not on there. One of the best games. I think I have this one. Dungeons and Dragons. Obviously, they can't use the Dungeons and Dragons name. It's owned by Wizards of the Coast. They'd have to go and get them to, register or trademark, whatever they have to do. Probably have to pay a lot of money. So forget it. They're not going to include this game. So if you want to play this game, you need to have the cartridge and a cartridge slot. Or you have to have the ROM and have the ability to load that ROM onto the system. And that was just one example. I mean, of course, there's Donkey Kong as well, owned by Nintendo. Is Nintendo going to give the license? No, it's not going to happen. Frankly, they probably wouldn't want to put on such a bad game anyways, but you get my point. That these games, depending on how you have them, can only be played either by a digital file or a cartridge. So, yeah, I mean, in the end, I think, obviously, having a cartridge slot is better than not having a cartridge slot. Why not? We would all want it that way. But I think in most cases, it's not going to be utilized. I mean, depending on also, the only thing I didn't check out the specs on is IntelliVoice. I'm assuming it's got it built in, so you can actually play IntelliVoice games. It could be wrong. If you know the answer to that, throw it down below. But I'm assuming because there's no cartridge slot, the IntelliVoice plugs into the cartridge slot, and then it has its own cartridge slot that you can, plug your IntelliVoice games in. So I would assume that the emulator in the machine has the IntelliVoice feature, so that wouldn't be an issue. There is other talk about the ECS, which allows you to plug in the keyboard and I don't have that. I don't have the keyboard for the Intellivision, so I'm not really versed in it. I don't really know much about it. Um, so yeah, I mean, other than little things like that, I think it's fine without. If it doesn't have the cartridge slot, it's okay as long as it's got that one feature that you can add ROMs, and they can actually be played, the modern games, not just the old ones. I would be cool either way. But I thought it's a great debate topic. A lot of people are talking about it. Some people are dead sold on it, and some people are like, hell no. There's no cart slot. I'll wait till the next one, and if it has it, then I'm jumping on it. And I'm not going to get started on the price point right now because I know the price is a little crazy for some people. Anyways, let me know what you think. Throw your comments down below. Hope you subscribe. Talk to you later.